What is up, Gundam Meisters and Innovators? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are finally returning to the world of Gundam 00. Last season, the Gundam Meisters were given the Trans-Am system, which helped Setsuna defeat Alejandro. The Meisters disappeared as the world unified as one. If you follow our coverage of Gundam 00F, you learned about Fawn and the Fresh Day team, the Gundam Meisters working behind the scenes. Fawn and the Meisters are still out there in the world, but the Fresh Day team started working with the Ptolemaeus team. In this episode, the year is now 2312. The world has united under the Earth Sphere Federation, but there is still war and conflict. Saji will witness this firsthand as he is unjustly punished. After 4 years, the Gundam Meisters finally make their return. So let's get into this. 2 Tietan space types and an Enact orbit package fights against and ahead. The AEU-090P AEU Enact orbit package is a space use configuration for the Enact. Many military members who abandoned their post took their Enacts with them when they went to Catherine. Although helpful, these struggle to uphold their own against Jinx mobile suits. It is equipped with a defense rod, a linear rifle, a sonic blade, and 2 rocket launchers. The Jinx 704T ahead is one of the 2 mobile suits utilized by ALAWs, the other being the Jinx. This unit is used mainly as commander units. You could tell by the design that this is HRL's attempt at making their mobile suit variant with the GN Tau drive and takes battle data from the Tietan Taotsu and the Tietan Kitu. This unit is also a testbed for other variants, one of which will be used by Mr. Bushido. The ahead data will also eventually be integrated into the Jinx 4. This utilizes the automation container. This is a container loaded with 12 automatons. The ahead's pilot can monitor the status of each automaton through the mobile suit's computer. It is also equipped with a GN beam rifle. The long barrel and condenser can be removed to turn it into a GN submachine gun. It also has a GN beam saber, a GN shield, 30mm GN Vulcans, missile launchers, and a GN hand grenade. Another interesting weapon is the NGN bazooka. This is a non-GN particle-based weapon used mainly for particle disruption, but its cartridge-based system can be replaced with various shell weapons. 2 Jinx 3s head into an asteroid and place bombs. The GNX 609T Jinx 3 is the upgraded version of the Jinx 2. The Jinx 2 was highly configurable and repairable, so you could assume that many of the Jinx 2 were retrofitted into Jinx 3s. The GN particle generator has been slightly miniaturized. This generator solves the toxic effect that the GN Tau dry particles have on humans. Because of this, the color of the GN particles are now an orangish red instead of the brick red of the old drives. It has a heat source blocking cloak, which conceals their heat source, obviously. The Foreste team could have really used this. It is also equipped with the GN Lance, a GN Beam Saber, a GN Claw, GN Vulcans, the Proto GN Lance, and much more. The head takes out the Enact and the Tietans. They are able to detonate the charges, destroying an asteroid. The Jinx team retreats. Klaus Grad gets word that the asteroid has fallen. During the Civil Wars, post-Earth Sphere Federation, Fawn helped anti-UN organizations fight against UN forces. He was ultimately using them, but in this process, they met Klaus. Whatever remains of that original anti-UN organization is now known as Catherine, and is the prominent force fighting against the UN currently. Klaus and Shiden working towards what they are calling the Proud Operation. Shiden was Marina's right-hand person until she left at the end of Season 1. Now she too fights for Catherine. Remember, during Season 1, Shiden was constantly objecting to Marina working with the UN, and ultimately, she was right. Things got worse in Azatistan, while the UN once again abandoned their nation. Marina, in many ways, is the anti-Relina. She desperately desires peace like Relina, but in this case, the sad, depressing realities of geopolitics said you could go fuck your peace. Soma and Sergei seem to be out of the military, but many people are trying to pull them back by joining ALAWs. ALAWs is a peacekeeping group designed to unify the nations, but in reality, they oppress the people and strong-arm weaker nations into complying with ESF. We got ourselves some Titans in this universe. Meanwhile, on the colony Proud, Saji has finally achieved his dreams of working in space. He is talking to one of his coworkers, Eddie, when 2 men come in and arrest him on suspicion of working with Catherine. Saji wonders what is going on. Saji looks at the guy. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. The officer arrests Saji as well. Why not? Tieria is talking to Ian Vashti and his daughter Melina, who is now a member of Ptolemaeus 2. The CBS-74 Ptolemaeus 2 relies on GN particles, but doesn't have its own GN drive. It relies on the Gundam's GN drives to recharge the ship when docked. Like the original Ptolemy, this has the rotatable docking ring for each mobile suit and MS container. The ship relies on speed and stealth mainly, but it does have a GN field. Its only other defenses are the Gundams themselves. Tieria wants to head out in his new Gundam. Meanwhile at Proud, Saji gets the Hermes Conrad treatment. Also heading towards Proud is a Baiko-class ship. We broke down this ship during our coverage of OOF, so go check that out. Launching is Barak Zenin and a familiar ensign, and they're a head team. They launch in Jinx 3s and heads. Meanwhile, a Gundam sneaks onto Proud. Setsuna begins making moves on the colony, while Catherine attacks from the outside. Hey, you guys over at Proud need any mobile suit defenses? Actually, we have these 8 turrets where if you look at it from afar, it looks like the 8 Noble Truths in Buddhism. It represents peace or some shit, I don't know. You guys sure you don't want to defend the colony with mobile suits instead of metaphors? Nah, we're good, man. A Virginia-class ship crashes into one of the docks. Once they are in Wi-Fi range, Catherine begins hacking their systems. They stop their stupid metaphor from spinning, which messes with the gravity. The Jinxes come in and fight Catherine. The familiar Jinx pilot happens to be Luis. Zenin, in the ahead, destroys the Virginia-class ship that was hacking and drops an automation container. Tachikoma. The automatons begin taking out the people inside of Proud. Saji hides from the automatons. He almost dies before he is saved by Setsuna F. Sei. They don't have time to catch up with one another as another automaton shoots at them. He throws a grenade and the two make a run for it. Setsuna realizes that nothing has changed. He calls for his Gundam. The two make a run for the docks where they run into Gundam Exia Repair. The GN-0000 RE Gundam Exia Repair is a poorly repaired version of Exia. After the final battle 4 years ago, Exia was heavily damaged. Setsuna was able to reattach the head and added a Tierin mono eye sensor to replace his Gundam's broken sensors. It wears a cloak to hide the fact that it is missing one arm. It is unknown if it could use the Transcend system in its broken state, but I'm gonna go with no. It only uses the GN Vulcans and the GN Sword. He heads into battle with the A-Laws. Saji can't believe that Setsuna is the Gundam pilot. Neither can Luis, who is also on the battlefield, as the Gundam makes its presence for the first time in years. The presence of the Gundam causes her to panic. Remember, she was attacked by the Trinity team and lost her hand 4 years ago. Much of her hate was channeled into the Gundams. The Ahead takes on Setsuna while Luis is not contributing to the battle. As Setsuna's unit is 4 years old, Zenin is very confident. He is able to take out Exia's arm. He goes for another attack when a beam blast comes barreling in. It happens to be Tieria in Seraphim Gundam. The GN-0000 Seraphim Gundam is the first of Celestial Being's new Gundams and is the successor to Virtue Gundam. It is very much like Virtue in that it is a chunky boy designed to act as its own platoon. It has a GN field and a new face burst mode. This is a Gundam's face on its back, which outputs more GN particles, but also controls the particles to a certain extent. On top of that, the Trans-Am system provides Seraphim 3 times more output, making this an even greater beast. However, it is also a gas guzzler and can't be on the battlefield for too long. It is equipped with the GN Bazooka, which has different configurations. The Twin Buster Cannon is combining the bazooka and the GN Cannon. The Double Cannon utilizes a burst mode and creates a giant fireball. The Hyper Burst mode is combining the bazooka with 4 GN cannons and creates the biggest output this unit can create. It also has a GN Beam Saber. The Jinx goes in to attack with its Beam Saber, but Seraphim has a GN field as well. Tieria says, "Bitch, I have a Gundam face on my back, boo!" He takes out the Jinxes. Zenin notices Luis is still catatonic. He decides to grab her and retreat. Setsuna realizes that it is Tieria in this new Gundam. The Ptolemaeos team gets word that Tieria has found Setsuna. The crew is relieved. Lassie will be happy to be reunited with Setsuna once again. On board currently is Felt Grace, the Vashtis, and Lassie, but more will join. Klaus gets word that Proud is safe. He's very confident that Celestial Being will share in Catherine's ideals. The two Meisters head back to Proud, where Saji takes out 4 years of pent-up emotional anger on Setsuna. He blames his sister's death and the loss of Luis on him and the Gundam pilots. He grabs and points a gun at him, demanding his loved one's back. Look at him shiver, he's not gonna do anything. Back on the Baiko class, Luis is getting the shakes and she needs her fix. At the end of Season 1, we saw that Regine brought back Luis to meet with the Innovators and is connected with Ribbons Almark. Ribbons happens to be meeting with Wang. Sumeragi is on Earth with Billy, drowning in alcohol and depression when she hears of the return of the Gundam on the news. Another person who is excited that the Gundam Meisters made their appearance once again is Graham Acker, now going by the name Mr. Bushido. An American samurai. He's Tom Cruising it up in here. The return of the Gundams have pushed A-Laws harder to recruit Soma. They resort to sending a son, Andrei Smirnov, a newly appointed A-Laws member, to try to recruit Soma. In an undisclosed location, Alleluia, or Hallelujah, one of the Luyas is tied up and has been a prisoner for the past 4 years. Tieria, Setsuna, and Saji head to the Ptolemaios too, but Setsuna instantly heads to Earth. He meets with Lyle Delandi, twin brother of Neil Delandi. He is currently a member of Catherine. Setsuna says, "Pack your bags, bitch. You're the new lock-on." A few months in the past, Tieria is in Gundam 00. They're trying to achieve synchronization across 2 GN drives using what is called the twin drive system. However, it has failed once again. The only other option is to try Exia's GN drive. In the present, Setsuna informs Lyle that his brother died 4 years ago. He gives him a USB drive with all the intel he needs. He wonders what is stopping him from going to the authorities. He tells him that Catherine should probably be focusing on their bases, which are about to be inspected and attacked. Katie Mannequin has decided to join ALAWS, as her command skills 4 years ago was impressive. Katie runs into Soma, who also took ALAWS up on their offer. Tom Cruise notes that Commander Katagiri is on a recruitment rampage. Homer Katagiri is commander of the ALAWS and uncle to Billy Katagiri. In our coverage of 00F, Ian confirmed that the research on the twin drive system was also released as a failsafe at the same time as the Trans-Am system. However, the data given is 200 years old and theoretical, so they are struggling to turn it into something practical. The twin drive system syncs 2 drives into one and functions in a similar manner to your multi-threaded processor in your computer. Melina comes to check on Saji. He wonders why they returned, and they tell him that they intend to put a stop to ALAWS. They leave him with Red Hato. Red Hato only stabbed 1 person, so you should be fine. Sumeragi gets drunk when Setsuna lands on her doorstep. In front of Billy, he says her codename and labels her as a member of Celestial Being. "I know you probably lied to this man 4 years ago, and I just blew his mind with this information, but we gotta go." Lyle confirms that one of Catherine's bases was indeed raided. He thinks if he should become Celestial Being. Saji connects his laptop to Red Hato and does some digging. He learns that the Throne Gundams weren't a part of the original plan. He learns that the GN Tau drives have cellular degenerative effects, which is why Luisa's hand would grow back. Watch out, he's gonna stab you! Setsuna and Sumeragi meet with the new lock-on, and they all head into space. Meanwhile, in Azatistan, ESF police arrest Marina. Last season, we learned that Wang loves the chaos. It seems she is doubling down on creating chaos and is losing the narrative of trying to achieve peace. She gave vital Celestial Being info to Ribbons. Zanin and the Ahead team launches and heads towards the Ptolemaios. Setsuna, Sumeragi, and Lock-On won't make it back to the ship before the attack. Sumeragi sends a coded message back to the ship. Even though this is the Ptolemaios 2, the system is still the scraped local backup of Veda with all of her tactical plans. Sumeragi reminds us all that we need to build a home lab and stop relying on cloud-based services for everything. Tieria launches and the Ptolemaios sends out mines that scramble the Jinx's system. This will slow them down and buy them some time. Tieria begins fighting with the ALAWS. Setsuna has no time to dock. He bails out of the shuttle and uses a jetpack to get to 00. Tieria isn't going to last long and needs help. Setsuna gets in the Gundam and activates the Trans-Am system. Ian is skeptical about using the Trans-Am system to jumpstart the twin drive system. Setsuna thinks back to when he saw O Gundam as a child. The other GN drive in 00 is O Gundam's original drive. He feels a sense of pride? Joy? I don't know. He's a Gundam. I can't get a read on this guy. It works. The drives synchronize, and he activates 00 Gundam. The GN 000 00 Gundam was built off of the data from Exia and designed for Setsuna, even though his whereabouts were unknown when they began development. The star of this show is, of course, the twin drive system, which syncs 2 GN drives. We will learn that the Trans-Am system overloads the mobile suit and isn't utilized until the Gundam gets the 00 Riser upgrade. Its antennas are redesigned to help control the massive GN particle output. Many GN condensers are placed throughout the body to store all of the excess GN particles for later use. It also doesn't have a typical GN field. It just outputs so much GN particles that it can nullify beam attacks. Weapons include a GN beam saber and a GN shield. Setsuna begins destroying some of the Jinxes, causing the rest to retreat. Gundam 00 was not a part of Veda's plan, as this isn't in Veda's files, but it was a part of Aeolia's plan. Ribbons realizes that Aeolia Schoenberg is still far ahead of him. Back on the ship, everyone is surprised to see Lock-On, thinking that it is Neil. And that will do it for this episode. Bringing the world together certainly didn't end world conflict. The Meisters are starting to come together, but they are still missing Alleluia. Next time, the Meisters will save Alleluia. Lock-On will get a new Gundam, and Billy becomes a sad boy, as he believes Sumeragi was using him this whole time. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember to be careful around Red Hato. Peace.